the Spirit Sessions podcast. I'm your guide, Katie Solocast, bringing you your weekly self-love soundbite. Join us, where I'll help you find your true spiritual home, where every single aspect of you is holy ground, holy ground, holy ground, holy ground.
This is a Spirit Session podcast with Katie Silcox. Venga chicos, empezamos.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hi everyone, Katie here. This podcast is intended to inspire you, educate you, and most importantly, support you on your journey towards knowing who you really are, that inner self, that inner teacher. I am not a psychologist or a medical doctor and do not offer professional health or medical advice on this podcast. If you are suffering from any kind of psychological or medical issue, please do the right thing and seek help from your qualified health professional. My staff is telling me that I need to record a podcast. Hi, everybody. It is your Ayurveda Gal Friday, Katie Silcox, coming to you from a different house than I normally am in. Okay, so I love to talk about real life, and I'm a writer. You guys know that. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome. Today's going to be a little different. I always try to use my own life experience because I think people can relate to it, and I'm just a regular lady like you, and I think people's personal stories are the most powerful things, and I have a kind of a principle that I try to live by when it comes to my professional life and my writing and my podcasting, and that is try to have life kind of digested before you talk about it. Try to have a personal experience grokked before you share it with the world, and that's a way of protecting myself. And it's worked well for me, but I do think there are some occasions where we're not going to have it all fully digested, and that's okay. And this is one of those times because I think it's going to take me a long time to fully understand the meaning and the spiritual meaning and the depth and the grandeur of what happened to me a week and a half ago. And that is that my house caught on fire and pretty much everything was lost. The good news is that the house can be salvaged and renovated, which we're in the process of already. But the extensive fire, water, and smoke damage pretty much took everything. So I want to talk about it because I can't do a podcast for you all if I don't. There's a way, and some of you know what I'm talking about. If you've gone through a tragedy, a natural disaster, fire, flood, the sudden loss of a loved one, Ayurveda talks about living in this liminal space, especially during moments of death and loss and grief, where you have one foot in one world and one foot in the other. And the other is the real world. And the real world is the world that nothing is forever. The real world and the truthful world is that everything's impermanent. And the real world in the truthful world is that every moment matters because death is the only thing certain. And that world, I've got one foot in that world as I'm talking to you guys right now. And then what happens in a natural disaster, and so often when someone dies, is that you're also thrust full throttle, pedal to the metal into the other world if we're going to divide them, which the idea is that eventually you don't. But the other world is the world of logistics and the material and getting shit done, and I'm in that world where I'm trying to secure housing and I'm trying to buy clothing and toothbrushes and underwear and period panties and dog food. And luckily, I'm coming to you from a beautiful home that we found that we have for a full year while we renovate the house. And OJS is fine and everything has settled in the basic survival needs. But when we undergo something like this, we're really called into all of these practices so deeply that I've been sharing, practicing, and teaching in the Shakti School for over almost 20 years. And that is the meaning, the deep meaning of the word Tantra is like there is no longer a division between our spiritual life and our life. And I just feel so compelled to speak to you all today because my heart is so huge right now and so broken and so fragile and so confused and so open. And I don't want to waste this time. And first and foremost, I just want to say the biggest thing that this loss has shown me is just how sacred things are. Like my dog and my friends and my family and my life. Ojas woke me up at 1 a.m. and the fire was already burning half my house. I am the lightest Vata sleeper on the planet, and I didn't wake up to the alarm. And she woke me up, and by the time she woke me up, everything was black. I don't know how much longer I would have had if I didn't have my dog, and I would have stayed asleep, and the smoke fumes would have passed me out, because that's how people often die in fires, is from the smoke. It was really bad. And she saved me. I mean it. This little neurotic Bernedoodle is my little lassie. She woke her mama up. And so, first lesson, the people in your life that love you, the animals, the plants, the moments that we have in presence are the only thing that have value. And I feel valuable, and I feel grateful to be alive. And I feel so grateful that I have this neurotic, annoying Bernedoodle that prevents me from going anywhere. And you guys, I was never a dog person. I thought, truthfully, dog people were kind of weird. And now I have this soul dog that, I would probably give my life for, and her for me. And I'm so grateful. She woke me up. We opened up the door to my bedroom and I saw a wall of orange light sparkling and popping and cracking. And I was initially confused, and I could feel myself very confused. But I knew I needed to get out. And there was this moment, and I've read about this sense where in natural disasters, people think that they have superhuman strength and they aren't seeing reality as it is. And I was like, I'm going to put Ojas in the garage, and then I'm going to come back in and firefight this myself. With water, I don't know what I was thinking. I took her to the garage. I went back in to open the door, and having left and been in fresh air and coming back in, it was clear to me that the house was so toxic. I couldn't believe I had been sleeping in there. And it hit me Katie, the house is gone. You need to call 911. And the flames were then reaching up through the second, third floor of my house on the right side of my house. And I went into the garage, and I had gone back and gotten my phone, and I felt myself kind of go into freeze. And to my credit, who dials phone numbers on iPhones anymore? Nobody. But I needed to figure out how to do that. And I was kind of freezy. And I heard this voice. It was me or my higher self or God saying, you're in freeze and you know how to come out of it. You need to move, and you need to move your fingers. And you can do this. Dial 911. And I did. And after that call, I realized that a garage could go up in flames. And so I needed to get out of the garage. And so I found a bungee cord for Ojas because I didn't have her leash. And we left, and I went 2 doors down to my neighbors, shout out Kim and Ron, and rang their doorbell. And before I got to their house, I just turned around in my literally t-shirt and underwear. Side note, I wear Lululemon shorts to bed, or booty shorts to bed. All my shorts were dirty. I had on the sexiest pair of underwear I own. And I remember putting them on the night before and being like, this is funny. Sexy underwear time. Little did I know I'd be out in the middle of the street in them. Silent was the night, and I'm looking up and I'm watching my house burn. Later, a fireman would tell me, had the house not been made of hardy wood, had it been made of vinyl, I would have lost the whole house and probably could have died. So we get out, we go to Ron and Kim's and ring their doorbell. They come down. Long story short, the fireman comes, shout out all of Albemarle Fire Department. We had so many men. It was really a full-on 5-alarm fire. And I sat on their back porch with my dog, and the EMTs came. And you all, one of the things I'm learning I want to share with you all is like, I am so grateful to be an American. I've lived in other countries. I've lived in Europe. I've lived in Africa. I've lived in India. I've spent a lot of time in South America. And, you know, the United States has its problems for sure. But our emergency response is some of the best, if not the best in the world. And these young EMT guys and gals came in, and they are trained to be trauma informed. And I could feel as they checked my pulse and my blood pressure, just the kindness, just the unbelievable kindness. And I don't know who they are, but if they're out there and somehow can listen to this, like, you guys were such a light to me in such a hard time. I had on a t-shirt that said Air Hanuman, and I think one of the EMTs was Indian because he was like, hey, cool, Hanuman, you really need him right now. And they saw that I had my dog Ojas on a bungee cord. And the EMT made a phone call to his friend, and I don't know if it was a fireman or who it was, and 10 minutes later, a dog leash appeared. And I felt their love and their care, both my neighbors and the EMTs, and my body started trembling. My legs started shaking. My innards started trembling and shaking. And I knew, because of everything we've learned in Shakti School with the nervous system, like, I was coming out of freeze. And as you hear me talking, I'm still coming out of it. It takes a little time, you know. But they say when an emergency happens, we go into freeze because we're alone. It's in that moment when someone reflects that you're okay back to you, that you can start to trust that it's okay. And so I just want to say, I love America. I love you, Albemarle Fire Department, and I love you, Albemarle first responders and EMTs. If you're out there and we can get this to you, just thank you. Thank you for being such a loving, warm presence as I lost my house and all the things inside. And another thing I learned on the practical worldly level is that it's good to have good insurance. If you're listening out there, make sure you get good insurance. They have also been so kind and amazing, my insurance company. And I also have learned that dogs are really amazing, and their acute sense of smell can save our lives. Dogs have a ability to smell like 500 times more acute than the human nose. And I really believe that my dog did save my life. When we were in Shakti School, we learn about the unseen layers of support and just how much support there actually is all around us. And I've always thought of that as like, you know, God, goddess, angels, ancestors, spirit. I've realized unseen support is also very human. And it's not until there's a tragedy or a natural disaster that you might realize how much unseen support is there for us. And they are the people that you might walk by on the street and never even notice. Or they may even be people that we may think that are different than us or beneath us or above us. And this team of guys that has been helping me with all my objects and remediation and basically getting everything out of the house, but trying to categorize it for the insurance company. You can just see in their eyes the soot and the ash and the fire that they've been exposed to because of their jobs, and the human tragedy and trauma and how they see this every day. And those men have been such a support to me. This one guy in particular, his eyes are bloodshot, and he's just been so strong for me. And he reminded me of the eyes of the men that I would see when I was living in India on the banks of the Ganges River, who were in charge of the charnel grounds. The charnel grounds are the burning ghats, the place where they take the bodies to burn. In that culture, you burn. Their eyes are often very red because of all that smoke. And it makes me think of the vultures, right? Like we might think of that as dark or not appealing, but the vultures are one of the most important animals. They're the only carnivorous bird, and they can eat the dead and they take it from us. there's a goddess in the Hindu tradition called Kali and Chamundama, this dark mother. And in the Christian tradition, we have the Black Madonna, and she's the mother I'm with right now, as I meditate on the soot and the ashes of my home. For me, what I've realized is also how little those material things are to me. I don't have so much attachment to the materials. It's more to the comfort and the rootedness of knowing you have a comfortable, warm home. But those attachments can kind of usurp our energy and our time. And the Dark Mother reveals to you just like what is actually valuable and what's actually sacred. And out of that charnel ground, out of that black ash comes this broken heart and this open heart and this gold that starts to come from the ash, the soot. The abrasive quality of our life is often when we really get the spiritual gold. It's so crazy, you guys. It was not but a week before this fire, maybe two. Those of you that are in Shakti School know this. We did a whole class on fear. We actually did 2 whole classes on fear. And in that class, we did a practice called the Precious Things practice. And I was speaking about the practice, and I'm going to actually share this practice with you guys in the next podcast. So stay tuned for that so you can have it. But in the practice, essentially, you imagine giving away something you love. And you start with something simple, like a material object that you don't have a lot of attachment to. And then eventually you build up to giving away more and more sacred things. And I remember holding up, those of you that are in class, maybe we can find the clip. I remember holding up this teacup and being like, this is a material thing that I really love. And my mother gave me this, and it's imbued with all this meaning around my mom and the way she used to be like an antiques dealer, and she knew all of the best plates and fine china. And that's my mom. She's the Venus in the first. She's the beauty queen, right? She's the one that finds beautiful things and gives them to people. And like all of this meaning and mothering exists in the molecules of this teacup for me. And I'm holding it up, and the tears are coming to my eyes because it's not the teacup, it's the love that I have for her. And in that moment, like that energy is liberated from the teacup, and the love of my mom is just in me. And then the teacup doesn't matter. And then the teacup was gone a few weeks later because none of the kitchens survived, And so I hope this is not a depressing podcast for you. I hope this is a podcast that inspires you, because I want to tell you, I am amazed at how strong I've been through this, and how grounded, how clear-headed about how I've felt God and the divine and these practices of energy. I felt it all in me and with me the entire time. And I've never been more sure that what we're offering at the Shakti School is so valuable than when I needed these teachings the most in my own life, when I went through loss myself. So this is the first of what I hope to be several podcasts on loss and death and grief, and the phoenix rising out of the ashes, the gold emerging from the poison. I am currently inside of it, and I hope that you'll be patient with me in these podcasts as I work through life, and hope to get you a podcast once a week. If there's ever a week where it's not coming out, just know it's coming when I can. And I know some of you out there might be wondering, like, wow, what can I do to support? What can I do to help? And really nothing other than please send us prayers and light. We'll gladly accept prayers and light and love and energy. But truthfully, help us make our level 1 year the best ever. That would be the biggest way. And what that means is if you feel called to join level 1, and it's not an Ayurveda certification only, it's a soul school for the moments in your life when you really need it. I would say just don't wait. Don't wait any longer to take a step into something that is radically, radically transformative. There is no greater investment of time and money than in what we're doing over at the Shakti School. And I can say that with a full voice and a full heart and a big belly. These practices work. And they are the practices that teach us how to die well and to live more fully. And so if you've been on the fence, don't wait, because I don't know how much longer it'll exist, because I don't know how much longer anything will. Don't wait. Join us in January. And if you are already in Shakti School, one way you can help is to help us share this with someone that might need these practices and these teachings and this community and this course. That would be really the biggest truthful way as we navigate this challenging time. I know in every cell of my body that January, when we start, is going to be the most powerful year we've ever had. I know it because I'm feeling it in myself. Just the full belief in what we're doing. Thank you all so much for being a listener. And if you're not on our mailing list, join it. If you have been thinking about Shakti School and want to set up a call with a real human woman, we've got those women waiting to take a free 30-minute coaching call with you. Our early bird is happening right now. It ends at the end of October, and it is a significant discount on the price of the course. So don't wait. It's all happening now. I'm sending you so much love from my new rental house. And thanks for listening. I'll talk to you guys next week. A big special thanks to Kevin Carlisle of Goodbye Gemini, who wrote this beautiful podcast music, and to DJ Juan Pablo Jimenez in southern Spain for mixing it and making it magic.